A growing number of pioneering individuals throughout the world are expanding their vision beyond typical mainstream thought so as to offer us tools for living healthier, happier lives. These individuals are the architects and philosophers of what has grown to be called the New Age.
The Los Angeles Whole Life Expo, now in its 7th year, is the premier forum for some of the brightest thinkers on the planet, introducing ways of thinking and living to millions of people who have found new ways to enhance their own quality of life and to positively affect the world around them.
The focus of the show is on health. Health in its broadest sense. Not just physical health, but mental, emotional, and spiritual health, as well as the health of the planet. We talked with the top lecturers in the areas of crystals, ecology, technology, health and nutrition, personal growth, and channeling. And we visited with some of the over 260 exhibitors at the show.
Crystals, from quartz to diamonds, fascinate man with their incredible beauty and durability. Without them, the crystal radio, the computer chip, and the laser could not have been possible. Recently, there's a renewed interest in the other possible uses for crystals. We talked with Dale Walker, author of the Crystal Book, about the use of crystals for their esoteric properties. Tell me about the phenomena of crystals today.
I think, quite frankly, that the interest in crystals is actually an awareness that's happening with people. I believe that literally people are waking up, that all of a sudden there's a need to know more about consciousness, a need to know more about how they fit within the universe in total. Certainly the range of people who come to my classes wanting to know about how to use these stones is every vocation. There's no way of charting or categorizing. They could be a lawyer, they could be a truck driver. Just all of a sudden, the stones grab their attention and they want to know more. Because your body is a system of crystals which operate on frequency harmonic inner systems that send signals back and forth. Even the cells send out little pulses of frequency. We've known this for a long time, but what hasn't been really thought out is what's the transfer system through the body. We believe it's crystals, because we do know that the whole body is filled with crystals. If you take the blood and you amplify it, you'll see crystals. If you take breath even and blow it on a slide and use an electron microscope to about 500,000 times its normal size, you'll see crystal shapes. The bone is total crystal. In fact, the whole body is filled with it, and we believe that those crystals cause transfer systems of energies to move throughout the body.
What do you see for the future?
Well, it's actually very interesting. It's unlimited as to possibilities. I'm looking right now at creating whole healing environments where people can go into it and immediately the room itself is designed with specific crystal energy grid fields that create an energy construct with special thoughts into it that create a very loving, very peaceful, very healing environment. They walk in the room, the body begins to react immediately in a healing manner.
Tell us a little about your new book.
It's very complete. It covers a wide range of healing, anything from physical to emotional healing, animals, working on animals, as techniques for doing healing at a distance, absent healing. And it creates whole methods and shows methods to create whole healing environments, which I think is so essential. What if we could have a world in which we could clear the crystal of our mind? What would that be like? That's the possibilities that crystals have for you.
The Earth has given us many wonderful tools, such as the crystals we've just seen. But what is our relationship with this planet that we call home? The American Indians have structured their whole civilization around a respect for the land. Sun Bear, one of today's most respected medicine men, shared his thoughts about man and Earth changes. Why is there an increased interest today in Native American philosophy?
Well, I think its increased interest is because as society has gone over to becoming more plastic and more mechanized and more other things, yet there's a hunger for more of the naturalness and finding that balance again.
Is there a relationship between individual personal growth and Earth changes?
Yes. The way that I see that humanity is upon the Earth to process, in other words, to grow into their fullest potential. And what is happening at the same time is what we call the Earth cleansing, which is major changes like earthquakes and storms and things like that will be happening. And we're in a time now on the Earth when we say when one area is too wet and another one is too dry, one place too hot and another one too cold. And this is part of major weather pattern changes. It'll continue till the year 2000. And this is happening at the same time. People are beginning to make conscious changes in their life and path and seeking out a better balance and harmony.
How does the Indian way relate to the current New Age movement?
Well, a lot of the things that the New Age people are turning to are very much part of the ancient native teachings and belief. That is, like now we're getting people that are consciously talking about environment and things like that. And Native people are very strongly into the environment and have always been, because they refer to the Earth as the mother, not only of humankind but of all living creation. So there's parallels in it. And after all, who could be more organically living than Native people eating off the land, or who could be more involved with holistic health than people who had the knowledge of 150 different herbs that they used for ceremonial purposes and for healing, and the sweat lodge, which is a sacred method of cleansing and everything, are all very organic methods of healing. And what I try to teach people is to take their own power, and I say, and then when you find out, when you've searched over things and you look at the world and you look at things around you, you look at that whole gobbledygook that the society has become, and one day you have to look at it and you have to say, I don't believe it. And then when you're brave enough to have acknowledged that you don't believe that crap that's out there, then's the time when you're ready to really start growing and taking on your true spirituality. And what I teach people is to create their own belief system. That means sort out and find what's real.
How does where we live affect our way of thinking?
If you live in a city and you're locked in and everything, and you're locked away from nature, you begin to, your sight or view of things diminish. You get to where you can't see things as far in terms of things. And I try, part of the thing that I try and teach my people that come to me is how to learn to widen and expand their vision and to look out in a broader sense of things.
Do you have some advice for those of us who have to live in the city?
There are ways of taking power over your life, becoming a whole, balanced human being, and being able to connect with the earth as well, even if it's just hugging a tree in the park once in a while, to begin to start refeeding yourself with energy and power and coming back into balance and harmony.
This light and sound device, called the MC2, is a great tool for relaxation. For ages, people have used meditation techniques to enhance their lives. It was only a matter of time before technology and meditation found a common ground. In response to the demand for easier and faster ways to obtain the goals that would take years of meditation, an entire industry has emerged, providing technological methods for increasing the brain's potential. From New York to Los Angeles, people are purchasing or renting time on their favorite brain-tuning devices. Inventor David Graham was at the expo demonstrating this Graham Potentializer. As the table rotates slowly, the fluids of the inner ear send impulses to the brain. Some of the results claimed through use of the Graham Potentializer are stress reduction, pain relief, expanded learning, improved problem-solving abilities, and increased positive attitudes and emotions.
It's primarily used either as a stress management or as an enhanced learning. We can turn a C student into an A student with about 10 to 20 hours on. We even get major breakthroughs at learning disabled children. We can mainstream them. Working with Down syndrome autistic children, we're getting major breakthroughs there. The primary focus for normal people is quality of life, improvement in concentration, attention span, personal relationships, mental functioning, and creativity. Now, tell me how you feel.
Oh, goodness. Do I have to get up? I could just stay there forever. Wonderful.
Using goggles with strobing lights and earphones with strobing sounds, the Synchro Energizer brings the analytical left brain into synchronization with the creative right brain. By using different strobing frequencies, you can change the state of your mind to anything from a deep meditative state to a creative dream state. To get some insight on how this new technology may play a part in our future, we tracked down Dr. Timothy Leary. As one of the founders of the New Thought movement, what do you feel about the New Age movement?
Well, I think it's the most hopeful development on the planet. There are millions and millions of enlightened, reasonably illuminated, tolerantly intelligent people, and they're the great resource that's going to see us through the next 12 years of millennium madness. So the New Age movement is, I think, the great hope for a happier and a more intelligent world.
In what ways are new technologies taking us towards higher personal growth?
Well, I believe that the intelligent person today is going to become a linguist, as you have to understand language and how to use language, how to package your thoughts, and how to communicate them. And the new personal computers and the new CD, compact disc, interactive techniques is bringing about an amazing change, that the computer becomes a camera or a thought processor that allows you to go right from your mind through the computer to your television screen. This is a power given to the individual which I think is going to be very liberating and going to raise the entire level of society. So I'm very optimistic, and I'm working very hard with my friends like Brumbear and Georgianne Dean, these artists and writers like William Burroughs. They're teams that's working together to produce these programs that hopefully will help us think more clearly and to get our ideas on the TV screen in competition with ABC, NBC, and KGB.
Do you see a conflict between technology and the recent increases in spirituality?
Well, I think they're one and the same thing. Technology without spirituality is Nazism or you know, Soviet control. But spirituality without technology is saying Om Bom and looking at your navel. You've got to bring the two together. Spirituality must be able to express itself or herself clearly, and as I say, powerful thinking machines are a terror, a nightmare. George Orwell come true if it's not balanced by spirituality. And by spirituality, I mean a humility, a humble approach to the great energies, and a sense of humor about life, and a sense of tolerance, and in a sense the ability to take another position and to see other points of view. This is what spirituality. But what's more spiritual than having quantum electrical signals coming through the air, picking it up on your satellite disk, putting it on your screen, changing it, moving it around, expressing yourself through these powerful, invisible quantum impulses, which after all are the language of the universe. What you're doing on your computer screen is the language of off-on quantum mechanical clouds of meaning.
What message would you give to our viewers?
Think for yourself and question authority. That's the oldest message of democracy and human species. Think for yourself, question authority, and keep a smile on your face.
Well, basically, I feel that visionary art is important because it allows people to expand their consciousnesses directly rather than through a lecture or meditation. This is something that people can actually see. These artists have had these visions, and they're putting it down directly, visually. They're putting it down on the oil. They're putting it down on canvas. And so it's a way that you can have a direct experience with these artists' thoughts.
The artists are trying to express their feelings in a visual metaphor so that we can hopefully enjoy them and expand our own awareness of who we are in the universe.
We know that our bodies are made up of 1,600 different types of proteins, all made from amino acids. Amino Edge is made from pure, free-form aminos. The result is high, sustained energy, physically, emotionally, and mentally. It's very simple. All you have to do is put 3 or 4 drops under the tongue, hold it for 60 seconds. The results are immediate. And I'd like to say one thing more about both products, Total B and Amino Edge. Indeed, they are made for athletes. Our history has been with athletes. But I get calls every day from moms, dads, business people, people who work out in the fields. It's for every single person that walks this earth.
Total B and Amino Edge has shown in my practice to be very helpful in those who are trying to achieve weight loss, because it benefits in metabolism, increasing metabolism, therefore burning of calories at a much faster degree. It's also very helpful in the brain function, allowing increased memory, also quicker thinking time, and that has shown with the athletes. We've seen increase in neurostimulation of the brain, allowing them to think quick, respond quick, and therefore have better thought processes occurring because of that.
Either product contains no yeast, no wheat, no sugar, no alcohol, and absolutely no animal byproducts.
Well, I have to tell you honestly, I really enjoy taking the vitamin B and the Amino Edge. I've been working the show for 2 days now, and I felt a little tired. You offered me some of the vitamins, and they're wonderful. No big pills to swallow. They've really rejuvenated my body, and I felt wonderful for about 4 to 5 hours. It was wonderful.
Amino Edge and Total B are not just for athletes. They're for everyone. You can find them at your local health food store.
Reiki is an ancient Tibetan system of healing and energy balancing, and it's a system that will work on a variety of levels. It works on the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual areas to help bring about balance. When an individual receives a treatment, they will have had 4 head positions done, 5 positions on the front of the body, and 6 on the back of the body. And this will have balanced every gland, every organ, every chakra, and every energy meridian. So that regardless of what a person's philosophy is, whether it's Eastern or Western, it still is going to balance that part of the body.
Joyce, how can Reiki be used in counseling?
Well, there are different levels of Reiki. The hands-on is not always appropriate in a therapeutic situation, but at the second level, there are techniques that can be used for mental, emotional, and addictive problems. In fact, we now offer continuing education units for both nurses and alcoholism and drug counselors so that they can benefit themselves and their clients by learning to use the Reiki. And it's very effective.
How does someone become a Reiki practitioner?
Well, it's really very simple. We certainly advise that people come to a free workshop to begin with so that they understand what Reiki is and they can have treatments and really know what they're getting into. The actual training itself is 12 hours, and it usually goes from 7 to 11 on a Friday and 10 to 6 on a Saturday. And there's a lot of material that's covered, and it's also a very relaxing and enjoyable weekend.
We asked a few people what the most exciting aspect of the expo was for them.
I think my favorite part was listening to Kevin Ryerson, the trance channeler.
There's just people here from all walks of life, and it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of interesting exhibits, lectures. It's great.
Probably my favorite part is the natural food, because I like to eat,
The workshops, lectures. Getting to meet a lot of different speakers that I wouldn't normally see, especially for the price.
Well, I think for me are the new mega brain machines.
Oh, I loved all the exhibits, and I think it's exciting. I think there's a lot to learn. You can educate yourself. I think it's great.
It feels like a spiritual carnival.
So far, it's been all the people and the vibrations here. This is where it's going on. You can feel it.
Learning how to travel out of the body.
If it's true that we are what we eat, I suggest you don't read the list of ingredients on some of these labels. Packaged and processed foods are becoming more and more artificial and unnatural. We ran into musician Michael Horn at the Natural Foods dining area, where he entertained us with his unique description of the American diet.
Well, you just found out that all you've been eating is junk. It's junk, it's junk, it's junk. From the first corn dog to the last diet soda, you drunk, you drunk, you drunk, you drunk. Now the reason you're high on that chocolate cream pie is the sugar, you're feeling sunk. So you go to extremes, only brown rice and beans for a month. But when your attitude is gratitude, you get the best out of your food, just bless it. Don't mess it up with all of those taboos. Attitude of gratitude. Your body knows what it can use when your attitude is gratitude. Well, you're giving that up now, and all that you're eating are prunes, along with some algae that you consume by the spoon. You're grazing on sprouts saying raisins are out, too much sugar, and you're feeling sunk. So you go to extremes, only garlic and greens for a month. But when your attitude is gratitude, you get the best out of your food, just bless it. Don't mess it up with all of those taboos. Attitude of gratitude. Body knows what it can use when your attitude is gratitude. Hey, what you mean you don't like tofu? All the books say you're supposed to. Just what you need, another diet. Dip that book in lard and fry it. Attitude of gratitude. Your body knows what it can use. Bless it, don't mess it up with all of those taboos. When your attitude is gratitude, you get the best out of your food. When your attitude is gratitude. So pass the Twinkie.
If this is your idea of a nutritious snack, then you need Harvey and Marilyn Diamond's workshop. They teach about the incredible human miracle machine and how to keep it at its peak level of performance. The Diamonds are authors of best-selling Fit for Life and have a new book out called Living Health.
Your body wants to perform miracles for you every single day. And all it asks for you is the right fuel. That's all it wants. It will do the rest. Well, we don't think about that. We see something, we want it, that's it. It tastes good, looks good, it'll fit in the mouth, we can catch it, put it in. That's how we relate to food. I mean, sometimes the body could be going, hey, wait, what am I supposed to do with all this crap? I don't know. Handle it, I'm going to work. I did my thing, I got it down there for you. At the next meal you eat, I want you to do something for me, and I want you to do it for you. I want you to look at the food. Before you eat it, look at it. Don't just blindly, like a tape hit, have it in front of you and go, and then move on. I want you to look at the food, and I want you to register how much of that food is alive and how much of it isn't. That's all I'd like for you to do. Your body is 70% water. Your meal should correspond to that. About 70% of what you put into your miracle machine should be living food. Just about 70%. That means 30% can be those foods that you feel like having. You want pasta with vegetables? I know I sure love that. Have it. Have a piece of garlic bread with it. but have a nice bunch of vegetables with it and a great big salad. Just look at what you're putting into your miracle machine. And ask yourself the question, if you're giving it the living food that it needs to perform those miracles for you, why would you not? Why would you not, unless you just didn't happen to know?
Even with the busy lives we lead, Marilyn Diamond shows us that our lack of time is no excuse for not preparing a healthy meal.
So here we've put in brown rice udon, and we've got all these wonderful vegetables that are just lightly sautéed. And then, Bo, you want to add some, I'm going to turn it off. I'm going to turn it off and put it in this casserole. Okay, wait a second, honey. Not yet, not yet, not yet.
I'm going to have this wrapped up, and my car is on level P3 for the person who's bringing it in.
Okay. So then we're going to just dump it right into this casserole here.
Need some help?
Yep.
Okay. Here, let me have this.
You just scrape it down. Brown rice udon. Pardon?
Wheat.
It has buckwheat and brown rice, and that's it.
There we go.
And Eden Foods is making all of these really good pasta.
Okay.
This is in Living Health. Living Health recipes are all real quick recipes. Now, just toss in fresh tomatoes. These from the garden? Yeah, these are from the garden too. And fresh basil. Okay, that's enough, honey.
Here, son. Gets right into it.
This is very terribly makeshift. Okay, and just toss it up a little bit. You can add a little bit of salt, fresh ground pepper if you like. And I'm just going to show you, and this will not take you more than 20 minutes, and that's it.
And we have to say goodbye.
With salad. See? You can eat that.
Tell me what your favorite part of the Whole Life Expo is.
The people.
People?
Yeah, the diversity, the chance to just network with people, and everyone is so open and willing and friendly to show what they have and, you know, to just be who they are, and I like that.
Anything in the exhibit hall you liked particularly?
So many books and tapes and posters that if I had a fat pocketbook, I would, you know, buy something at just about every stand. Everything is nice. There's a lot of nice things that all has to do with expansion of consciousness, and that's what it's all about.
The focus of the Whole Life Expo is on health. Crystals, Mother Earth, technology, diet, these are all tools available to improve overall health. So far, everything we've looked at has been an outside influence on the individual's health. Another important area is personal growth. There are growing numbers of doctors and psychologists who are teaching us ways to have healthier, happier relationships. Dr. Barbara DeAngelis, radio and television personality and author of How to Make Love All the Time. Barbara, tell us why you feel there's been such an upsurgence in the personal growth movement with all of the books available, all the workshops out right now. What do you attribute to that?
I think we're trying to come back to balance. I started getting involved in personal growth when I was 18. I'm 36 now. I know I don't look it. And what I noticed was when I was 18, I was into health foods and all kinds of things, and no one I knew was. I was from Philadelphia at the time. And if you went to a doctor when you were, I guess, in the 60s and said, "Doctor, I don't feel good. Could it be my diet?" They would have said, "Don't be ridiculous. Food has nothing to do with your health." And they really believed this. If you said, "I'm getting old, I have arthritis, my hearing's not good, could it be food?" They said, "That's just old age. You have to accept it." There's been an incredible revolution in the health field where now the things that we thought were normal health, we're realizing are illness. And our whole perspective on health has changed so that now we have much higher expectations of what is healthy than we did 20 years ago. I think that the same kind of evolution is going to have to happen, and is happening, with not just our outer world, but our inner world. And I firmly believe, just from the work I've been doing, and I think what I'm really committed to doing, is helping people redefine what's emotionally healthy and not. Because I think what most people think of as healthy emotionally is illness. Being in a marriage where there's no passion, where you don't like each other, but you're together anyway. That's not what's supposed to happen after 20 years of marriage. That's what happens when you neglect it, when you don't take care of it, when you do all kinds of mistakes that I talk about in the book. Same thing with having relationships, never finding the right person. This comes because we don't know how to look for the right person, because we don't know how to make love work.
All right, I want to find out who's out there, first of all. How many of you are single right now? You're not in a relationship. Yeah, let's just forget the lecture. All right. All right, how many of you are in a committed relationship with someone right now? Now, wait a minute. Did you just notice something? Whenever single people raise their hands, they go, I'm single. And whenever you ask people who are committed, they're so quiet. They just politely raise their hand. They're not laughing. Does this tell us something about relationships?
How do people go about keeping those relationships healthy?
Well, the first thing is to get clear again on what's not healthy. I talk about 20 warning signs in my book of unhealthy relationships, and when people hear these, they say, you're kidding, that's a sign of an unhealthy relationship? I thought that was normal, fantasizing about other people. Now, I go on talk shows all over the country, and they say, wait a minute, we just had a doctor on who told us that's a perfectly healthy thing to do. I said, it's as healthy as if you're in an Italian restaurant eating pasta. The whole time you're eating it, you're thinking about Chinese food. Now, that to me means the food is not satisfying. And it's the same thing. You're not supposed to be in bed with somebody thinking about somebody else. It doesn't mean you're bad. It means there's something wrong with the relationship.
How many of you who are single would like this to be the year, this to be the time when you find your perfect partner and get in an incredibly magnificent, passionate relationship that doesn't break your heart and doesn't ruin everything right now? Would you like that this year? All right. These guys are saying no, no way.
We're no more experts at love than we are at working a computer or a camera or anything without instructions. We are all here on the planet, and we never were given the instruction booklets. So we're all trying to figure out how to work life. Luckily, a lot of people somehow got a copy of the instruction booklet, and we're all trying to share it with each other as fast as we can. And that's really what I see doing. And I'm reading it along with everybody else.
And teaching it at the same time.
Yes, absolutely.
So tell us a little about the new book.
It is everything that I've always wanted to share with people about how to find the right person, what goes wrong in relationships, what to do to make relationships work, how to know when it's over, how to tell if you're with the right person, when to leave. The things I've been teaching in my seminars experientially that I just couldn't travel all over the country doing every weekend because it would be exhaustive. And now I have this book. It's not the same, but it has, I mean, I really think of it as the manual we should have all been given before our first relationship, and that's what the reviewers have said. The book basically says no one taught either sex how to love, and we are all making mistakes, and inside of us we all have the capacity to do it, and here's how. And I think that positive approach is something people were very hungry for, without having to be labeled, and I think that's one of the reasons it's so successful.
How many of you couples would like to keep that energy and be in love, juicy all the time? Would you like that? All right. All right. So what I want you to do, considering we're all in agreement here, and I told you that I'd promise you a little taste of passion, I want you to turn to the person next to you or behind you and say to them, I'm passionate about having more passion in my life. And I want you to say it with feeling, all right? Go ahead.
My highest thought that I always talk about in my lectures is if the fate of the planet was on your shoulders and God was going to watch your life for a day and based on the quality of your personality and your consciousness decide if the world was going to continue to exist or get rid of it because it wasn't any good, what would happen? And I always say to people, integrity means being willing to be picked any time to be the one representative of quality of life. I think if we all thought about that, rather than thinking maybe one day someone else will change things or the government will get smart, but if we lived as if it was totally up to us, that would wake people up more than a lot of seminars and a lot of books, and we'd be really living peace at home first, and then peace on the planet.
I just enjoy interacting with the people, positive people, and I like to see what's new and what's going on, and that's just enjoyable. Well, just basically all the booths and what people have to present, and I just like being here. It's nice.
Being hooked up to all those machines and having people, you know, put things on you and crystals and talk to you and do that because it's just fun. So it's fun, yeah.
I figure I can meet more of the people that I'd like to meet while I was here than anywhere else in town today, so that's why I'm here mostly, although I did attend one of the workshops last night.
Information about the world as it is now and all the things that are starting to happen. Like the ozone layer, AIDS, things that are so important and so relevant, and yet so many people are asleep.
I just bought these soles that go inside your shoes, and they're filled with water, and they've changed my entire life. They really have. I'm not kidding.
The workshops are great. The lectures, it sort of tells you all about yourself, all about life. I think it's great. People watching this sort of thing is great here.
Entirely surrounded by the beautiful Cascade Mountains with Mount Shasta in full view, Upper Klamath Lake represents one of the most pristine, nutrient-rich natural resources in the world. Celltech, founded in 1982, harvests super blue-green algae. It grows wild in this glacier-fed Oregon lake, making it unique among all other algae products. I was first introduced to this product in June of '87, and the first thing I noticed was a substantial change of attitude. I was finding it easier to stay in a positive frame of mind and had much more mental clarity. And I was noticing a newfound patience and energy to deal with my work. I guess the bottom line for me was that this unique food really seemed to make a difference.
In April of 1987, I began taking super blue-green algae. Shortly thereafter, I started working with children in Western Massachusetts. My hours began at 7 a.m. and lasted until 9 p.m. Throughout the summer, I continued to take the super blue-green, and my energy level remained at a high-quality level.
Super blue-green algae is a balanced, nutrient-rich whole food. It's the highest natural source in the world of vegetable protein, chlorophyll, B12, and beta-carotene. Super blue-green is a superb whole food source of the whole spectrum of trace minerals, an astonishing 23%. It's freeze-dried, not heat processed, to protect the beneficial enzymes and heat-sensitive vitamins. Super blue-green algae is 95% assimilated.
The way the system is now and the way our environment is, it's also depleted everything, food sources and everything else. Anything that's going to, especially of natural origin, which is hard to find these days it seems, is going to, be good.
Please find out for yourself the many benefits of taking super blue-green algae.
I'm here with Barbara Ellick, president of New Beginning. Tell us a little about the company.
The company is a salon of personal care that I started quite a few years ago, about 17 years ago. I'd been working in the field with medical doctors for about 34 years and decided that they needed to have a good salon where a person could come in and have a beauty makeover for the whole day, and that's basically how it started. I am a cosmetic chemist. I make products for over-the-counter, and I also make prescription products for doctors. We opened up in 1977 in Mexico, in Guadalajara, on Lake Chapala. And we have a health spa there where you can come down and spend 2 weeks or a week if you like. You not only can come down there and have a facelift or have a chemical peel, but you can have massages, facials, cellulite treatments, hydrotherapy tub baths. Also we have hot mineral pool baths there. You would feel so good about yourself you could hardly wait till you go back again. Because most people do. They come back time and time again.
As we come to the end of our show, we've saved the most interesting and controversial aspect of the New Age for last. With the airing of Shirley MacLaine's Out on a Limb, channeling was propelled into the public eye. Channeling almost defies definition, but we did ask some well-known channels to give us a little help. Sean, why do you feel that channeling has gained such popularity?
People are asking bigger questions these days. They want to know more than how can I get the next big house or the next nice car. They're ready for a deeper sense of value in their life, a deeper sense of self-value. And the channeling phenomena is sort of reflecting that. People are growing more, asking more questions, and the answers are coming from more sources now, interdimensionally.
I think the biggest value of channeling is for people who already have a sense, a realization that they are the creators. There's a slight danger that people could get addicted to the channeling process because these non-physical personalities or entities that come through are very smart. It sometimes looks like they're smarter than the humans that they're talking to. The value is to be able to use them as an example of your own brilliance, of your own intelligence, of your own love, because they're very, very loving.
Many people seem to think that channeling is about giving your power away to, oh, let's go hear this being that seems to be special or something. And there are those that will want to give that power away to some kind of a being. But if you want to look up to somebody, you'll find that no matter where you look. But basically, the consciousnesses that are coming through to channel through, most of them really do not want any of that kind of attention, any of that kind of guru worship.
Tell me something about these entities that are being channeled.
No, I channel an energy that calls itself Torah. Torah is an interdimensional consciousness. And that means that he exists on many other dimensions, and I basically tune into him like a radio tuning into a radio wave.
We're starting to accept the idea that maybe there are life forms that are other than on Earth, and maybe eventually we can accept the idea that there are life forms that don't have bodies either. And he's one of those. He refers to himself as a consciousness, an intelligence, a spark of love, a spark of light without form. And that's probably the best description of what he is. Who he is just this incredible loving energy that seems to be here to not save us and not do for us, but to befriend us and help us do for ourselves. And that's probably the simplest way to put what and who is Lazarus.
From my personal experience, from my personal point of view, I can't even make a claim that they're an entity per se. Some guy out in outer space hanging out in a spaceship, you know. I cannot make that claim. I don't know what Ekton is. That's why I call him a non-physical personality.
The higher self is a very important source to look at, that many people are finding it very easy and natural to access their higher self or their higher conscious mind and allow that source to connect through or relay through or channel through in some way or another. There are also extraterrestrial consciousnesses, discarnate consciousnesses, those of what are sometimes called the higher realms, that are coming so much at this time to assist us in learning how to love ourselves, how to take responsibility back for our own lives.
When you're in the process of channeling, what's happening for you?
I go into an altered state by just relaxing my mind, much like a meditative state. I allow myself to focus on my energy field expanding so that this wavelength that is Torah can blend with my energy field and then reflect that blending through a communication that comes out as words from me. And that's how it happens. It's very easy, it's very comfortable. I feel very loved, very supported in the experience. I'm semi-conscious. I'm somewhat aware on the side. I experience it like a dream state. I can see pictures. Sometimes I can hear the words. I can choose to listen if I want to. And I can choose to just kind of relax and enjoy myself there on the side.
I have a technique that actually he told Penny back 13 years ago that I should use, and I still use the same one. It's nothing mysterious. I don't know if it would work for everybody, you know, but it seems to work for me, and that is I climb down a ladder. I just close my eyes and start visualizing myself climbing down a ladder, and when I get to the bottom rung, I sort of spiral backwards. I kind of just dive backwards, and then each circle gets bigger and bigger, a little slower and slower, and eventually I just kind of drift off, and the next thing I know, I open my eyes, and it could be 5 minutes or 5 hours later, and I know something must have happened because I always feel good afterwards. So that's how I do it. And yeah, I've done it now for as many as 10 or 12 times a day, or once a day at least, for 13 years now. So.
One day a friend was leading me through a meditation, and I sensed an energy in the room. And to make a long story short, the energy was very loving, very benevolent, and I got a sense that it wanted to drop in to my body. That's just what I sensed. And I wasn't unfamiliar with channeling at the time, but it was a little, oh, really? Is this really happening? Is this really going on? So I let it. I let this energy drop into my body, and my voice changed, and it said, my name is Ektan, and it told Michael, the person who was leading the meditation for me, some things about him, some very personal things that I had no clue about. So that was when it first started, and it was like Ektan came in a whirlwind and improved his validity immediately. And that was about going on 6 years ago.
If there's one thing the New Age is about, it's about opening yourself to new experiences. With this in mind, we'd like to present these channeled sessions, which took place at the Expo.
All right, well, we'll say greetings then to you. Greetings indeed, dear one. And we are most grateful to have the opportunity to answer your questions and to make a few comments about this wonderful thing called growth. For indeed, this is catching on like wildfire, growing through self-love, growing through taking responsibility for what you are creating in your life. And so this phenomenon called metaphysics is becoming more and more very obvious and visible to more and more people, as more and more people want to create their lives exactly as they wish them to be, create them with fullness, abundance, wonderful relationships, loving relationships, honesty and integrity. And it is a joy indeed to be able to share some of this wonderful discussion with you today.
Those who are willing to step into their own love, into their own truth, into their own beauty, into their own responsibility, will survive and live in ways that you can't even imagine. Those who absolutely refuse to accept responsibility for their creation and continue to blame others for the problems in their life will experience the continued problems and will experience death, whether it's psychological death or physical death. Entity, this is the time for, let us say, the separation of the men from the boys. The boys who continue to blame the universe for their pain will continue to feel pain. The men and the women that begin to own responsibility will live in the grandest of heaven, in the grandest of love, in the grandest of light.
Self-love is part of what we call the valued self, which you were looking at, that deals with self-worth, self-esteem, and various other components. The most important of them is, of course, self-love. And we'll put it this way quite clearly and quite succinctly. If you loved yourself entirely, totally, 100%, absolutely without question loved yourself, you would need know nothing more. You would never have to go to school, you'd never have to learn reading, writing, arithmetic, you would never have to take any classes, you'd never have to do any of these sorts of things. It would all come to you automatically. Because if you loved yourself absolutely 100%, you would know how to speak when speaking was important. You'd know how to cipher when ciphering was valuable. You'd know how to read and understand and do business. And every business decision would be a wonderfully successful one if you loved yourself totally. Indeed, interactions and relationships with people would be absolutely perfect, would be indeed idyllic if you loved yourself totally and completely. And people say, oh no, I love myself totally and completely and my life doesn't work that way. And we would say, oh no, you don't love yourself totally and completely yet. And we would suggest here that if you did, everything would be perfect in your life. Everything would work out absolutely incredibly well with harm to none.
You can never love yourself too much. Now, we do not mean self-centeredness, selfishness, negative self-indulgence that keeps you from your growth, but the kind of self-love that flows in and out like a circle, where because you love yourself enough, you feel wonderfully free to give your love. The more you are able to receive love, the easier it is to give love.
Self-esteem is an incredibly important function in your life. Everybody seeks it, regardless of whether you know you're seeking it or not. Everybody seeks it. There isn't anyone alive who isn't looking for that self-esteem. Now, there's two places to look. You can look inside yourself, or you can look outside yourself. Now, there are certain sources of internal self-esteem: honesty, integrity, which we would suggest is spontaneous responsibility. Responsibility and trust are the major ones. If you, at the end of the day, will sit down and look and say, how honest have I been today? How much responsibility did I take for the reality I created today? And how spontaneous was I with that responsibility? What was my integrity? And did I trust myself today? Honestly, did I trust myself? To the extent that I can answer yes to those questions, or to the extent that I have internal self-esteem, that I have the self-esteem that I've given myself and no one can take away from me.
With every breath that you take, you're creating a brand new movie right now, right here. It looks as if we're moving one moment after another, after another, after another, but you create it fresh in every millisecond of your existence, and you don't even know how to do it. Or you don't even know how your brain or your mind or your being does it. But entity, the proof is in the what we call the pudding, you know? Look around you. It's yours. It's not some God out there with thunderbolts in his hand that has created your will for you. You might have that belief, but the bottom line is you are the God that you seek. You are the God that creates all of the experience that you explore or that you have. If you are a God that pretends not to be one, you are a God that pretends not to be a God.
And so you play your scenarios out on your planet, and you learn how to do it. And as you're learning how to love and how to create, you are also having a real good time. And so we would also say that. Have a good time when you grow. Let growth be fun. It is indeed to have these discoveries. You see, it's so much fun to hear individuals say, and their ahas. Oh yes, aha, aha, aha. The whole energy of the body changes, yes? So we would say, have your ahas and have a good one, yes.
First, we want to let people know that you have choices in your growth, that you can grow by other means than the pain and the suffering and the sorrow that you have been for thousands of years taught is the only way home, that the spiritual path is a lonely one, that the spiritual path is one of sufferance and one of endurance and one of difficulty. And we're here to tell you, if you want that path, you're welcome to it. There's lots of room upon it, certainly so. But we would suggest here that you can grow in other means. You can grow through the joy and through the love and through the wonders of what the world is. And though that path is much more crowded, we would suggest there's plenty of room for you as well. Secondly, we want to let people know the truth about recreating your own reality, that you do create your own reality without the asterisks, without the fine print, without the parenthetics that so many, even in this field of metaphysics, want so quickly and so abundantly to add. You create your own reality except for this set of rules or that set of exceptions, or except when I say so. No, we would suggest not at all. You create your own reality, period, and you can create whatever reality you desire, as full of love and abundance and joy as you want, or without those things, if indeed that is your preference, but it is your choice. And thirdly and fourthly, we are here to remind people, and perhaps to show people for the first time, that there truly is a divinity, there truly is a God, as we call it, God, Goddess, all that is. There is a force of energy, far more than any of your religions perhaps know. A force of energy of love, a force of energy of light that is out there, that indeed does care about you, that does, as we say, know your name. And finally, we're here to tell people, to teach humanity and to show you that you do love good enough. Maybe not perfectly, maybe not ideally, but you love good enough. And in that sense, as you start recognizing and valuing your love and the love that there is for you in a world that you create, then you can perhaps choose the higher path of growing through the joy and the love and the wonder that the world holds, rather than choosing the lower path of pain. And that's why we're here, in as concise a way as we can say it.
The truth of the message that we are attempting to communicate to you these days, the truth that you are your Christ, you are your Buddha, you are your God, you are your love.
All right, well indeed, we very much have enjoyed talking with you this afternoon, sharing these ideas and sharing some of our thoughts. Hopefully you can take them and they can work for you. Hopefully you can let them in and they can make some sense for you. And with that, in that sense, we very much have enjoyed talking with you, and we shall close. And to you we do offer love. We do offer love and peace.
We hope that this show has expanded your vision of the New Age movement, and we'd like to take this opportunity to invite you to attend the next Los Angeles Whole Life Expo. And also, look for future editions of Expanding Visions, the Los Angeles Whole Life Expo video magazine. I'm Terry Lynn Curry.